call is from Arkansas Pine Bluff, Coach Monte Coleman. Is Coach Coleman on the call yet? I know we're a couple of minutes early. Is Coach Coleman with us?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Good morning, Coach. How are you doing?
Good morning.
All right. Coming off of a victory on Thursday night on national TV over Alabama State, your reflections of that ball game and your upcoming games. I believe, if I'm looking at the schedule, you're at Tennessee State at 5 o'clock on Saturday. So talk a little bit about last Saturday and this one coming.
Well, first of all, Antoine, let me apologize for a comment that I made last week on our teleconference. I said we did not have a turnover. We did have one interception, which I beg you differ, and you were right and I was wrong.
Oh, that's okay. Turnovers are forgettable, Coach. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, but I made a comment that was false. I just wanted to clear that up.
Okay, we appreciate it. No problem.
Sir. But our win last Thursday was definitely a hard-fought victory, one that we're pleased to have, of course. It was a conference game. We played a very good football team in Alabama State. Coach Barlow and his staff have done a great job with that team for a lot of years. And as far as I know, and I've been here at this university for 11 years, that's our first time ever beating them. So it was a very emotional and very good victory for us, but a very hard-fought football game on national TV. I played a good football team, which I respect the coaches and the team. This week, we're in preparation to play a non-conference, our last non-conference game for homecoming at Titan Stadium against Tennessee State. They're undefeated right now. They came off a big victory against Bethune this past weekend. They played one of our sister schools, Jackson State, and they beat them also early in the year. So we're going to have our hands full. We're excited about the opportunity to go down and play them, and we're prepared for them. We will be ready to play come Saturday.
All right, questions for Coach Monte Coleman from UAPB.
So, Dicey Morrell, Pine Bluff Commercial. How you doing?
Good, I see.
Hey, you're stepping away from conference for a game, and you got Tennessee State, which could get the number one black college ranking. You know, how do you hope your good start carries over into this ball game? And what's the thought of having a challenging non-conference game like this in the middle of a challenging conference schedule?
Well, we had to shuffle our schedule around opposed to try to keep from having 6 or 7 straight ball games. And this is where this one fell. It really doesn't matter. I see where it was. It could be early on. It could be late. It's a football game. We're preparing for it, not as a non-conference game, but as a game. This is a game that we definitely want to win. It's their homecoming. We want to go down and we want to play a good football game to kind of thrust us in the rest of the season in our SWAC play. So this isn't a game. This is not a game that we're taking lightly. It's a game that we're going to do everything that we have to do in order to win this football game, and that's our approach.
Right. And did you know going into the season that this Tennessee State game would be of this magnitude? You know, UAPB going up against a black college championship contender, we'll say.
No, I knew that they were very good. As far as, you know, what their record would be at the time that we were playing them, it was really irrelevant to us. It's a football game, and that's how we're looking at it. You know, they're very talented. Watching them on offense, they do a lot of good things. They're pretty balanced, run and pass. Got some very talented receivers. Got a good, smart quarterback that manages the game. Defensively, they're very aggressive. They will blitz a whole lot, and that's what we're anticipating them sending the 2 outside backers, blitzing us, trying to make us make mistakes, and you know, we're going to prepare just like we would do for anybody. We will prepare to go out and win the football game, and I guess that's kind of a stupid statement because that's what everybody does, but we're not going to just lay down and say it's a non-conference game and we're saving ourselves for conference play. This is a game we definitely want to win.
Well, I understand you guys are definitely going for a big win right here. But, you know, just given Tennessee State and where they are right now, 4-0. I mean, you play a lot of tough conference games. I guess in comparison to games in recent history, I mean, is this a good?
I can't hear you. I see.
Oh, I'm sorry. Basically, I just want to ask, is this game, as big as you've ever played in we'll say at least the last couple of years?
It's definitely a big game. It's no bigger than it was last Thursday night against Alabama State. It's not going to be any bigger than Jackson State coming in next weekend. It's the next game on our schedule, and that's how we look at it. We're taking it one game at a time. And it's just so happened that these guys are the next ones on our schedule. So being a big game, all of our games are big as far as I'm concerned. And, it doesn't matter if it's a conference game or a non-conference game. Each game, each week is a big contest for us. All the teams we play are very talented. And, to answer your question, yeah, it is a big game. But next week against Jackson State will be the biggest game of our season. And after that will be the biggest game of our season. So all of them are very big and important for us.
Yeah,
Coach Kennershot.
Just one last question, Coach. Is there a sense that this team already misses playing in the Gateway Classic? Usually this is Gateway Classic weekend coming up.
Studies offered in
This
Louisiana at Southern University.
This one is
Hold on one second, Coach. Okay, go ahead.
This game is kind of taking the place of it, the Gateway Classic. So, yeah, it is around the same time. We've got a huge following. A lot of folks are talking about going to Tennessee. The distance is about the same, about a 6-hour trip. So we should have a lot of fans, just like we did at the Gateway. We should have a lot of fans here at Titan Stadium to support us.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yes,
Coach Kennershot, TSPN Sports, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. Despite your 3-1 start, you have a team that appears to still be suffering from the penalty bugs. You got a 24-21 victory over Alabama State last Thursday, but yet you had a team that suffered 17 penalties for 172 yards. And I know this has been something that you've tried to address in previous weeks, but talk about how you plan to approach this going forward.
We just got out of a staff meeting, and that's one of the things that we're still talking about. And the thing that I think we're going to have to do is I'm going to have to bring officials into practice. Now, in practice, we don't have many violations or penalties like we do in the game. I don't know if the kids are trying too hard or I don't know. I mean, 17 penalties is way too many penalties. And it's something that we're very conscious of. It's something that I've addressed the team with every week. And, just so happen when we get in the game, we just kind of lose our focus or try too hard, or we just susceptible to penalties. We'll continue to work on it on our end in practice and, make it obvious or not obvious, make it known to them that we've got to cut it out in the games, and hopefully we can make that conscious effort as a team to eliminate some of these penalties, because we can't lose 170 yards in penalties each week.
For a number of teams, that particular stat would prove to be disastrous and would typically result in a loss. How do you think your team has been able to overcome that particular area?
Well, we've played decent football these first 4 football games, and just have made plays to overcome it. And that's all. The only thing I can credit it to, we have made plays to overcome it, because I agree with you. In years past, we would have found ways, or because of the number of penalties, would have killed our progress in winning football games. And for whatever reason, we're able to sustain ourselves and win this year. But regardless, we can't continue to foul that many times. It's not good. It's not good, and that's the only way I can express it. It's not a good thing. That's not a stat that I want to lead in penalties. I do not want to lead in that.
Coach Coleman, good morning. Charles Edmond from WPRL.
Good morning, Charles.
You all have been such a staple in the Gateway Classic. Talk about the decision to not playing it this year? Was it financial, or just you look at it something different in your schedule?
Well, it was a little bit of both. We wanted something a little bit different in our schedule, and I think with the Mr. Earl passing a year or so ago, the Gateway, the negotiations weren't going as fast as it had in the past. There's a good possibility that we could be joining the Gateway Classic again, possibly next year, depending on negotiations. And it's a place that we love to go. Our fans love to go. But like I spoke with IC from the Pine Bluff paper, the distance to Nashville and St. Louis is relatively about the same. So this will be our gateway game for our fans. And I think we're going to have quite a bit of fans, from what I've heard, traveling down with us.
Further questions for Coach Coleman?
Hey, Coach Coleman, Ty Miller from Sheridan Broadcasting. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Ty.
Hey, Coach, Tennessee State's defense only giving up about 10 points per game. So what have you seen in that defense that makes it so effective?
They are a very aggressive defense. They give you several different coverages. They have blitzed several teams. I'm not sure what approach they'll have for us. But the majority of their teams, they've blitzed. They have an all-American middle linebacker that's playing well for them. The two outside linebackers that's playing well. And just, a lot of stunts from the defensive line. So they mix it up, make you make mistakes, and that's how they've capitalized and keeping folks down to 10 points or less.
What are your thoughts on Michael German, their quarterback, and also their top running back, Travis Ware?
Both of them were very good ball players. The quarterback manages the game for their team. Doesn't make a lot of mistakes, and that's the thing that we've got to try to get him to do is make mistakes. They're very talented offensive line, and that's where it starts at. And he's got good receivers that has good speed and can catch the football. So he does what he's asked to do is manage the football game. And between him and the running back, it's kind of a balanced offense. They're going to run the ball pretty much equally to throwing the football. Lots of formations. So they want to get you to kind of go to sleep in a sense with some of the formations, and then they'll capitalize on it.
Last question, Coach. I mentioned that was Travis Ware as opposed to Travis Ware, by the way, with the running back. But the other thing I want to talk to you about, this is a pretty big game for Arkansas Pine Bluff for the first time in a couple of years this early in the season. So what are your thoughts on having such a huge game, which a lot of people are going to be taking notice of?
Well, it's like I said, Ty, all of our games have been very important to us as a football team and as a coaching staff. This game is no more important than any others. We're going to prepare for it the same way we have. We're going to practice hard each day, starting today. And, we're going to go out and play our very, very best come Saturday. So, it's a non-conference game, but we're looking at it as just another football game. And that's what we want to do. We want to play hard in this particular football game to keep our momentum going when we break back into conference play.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
Final question for Coach Coleman.
Hey, Coach, it's Troy, the Democrat.
Hey, Troy.
Hello?
Hello. Can you hear me? Hello. Troy.
Hello?
Troy. I don't know if he can hear me.
I don't know if he can hear us. Troy, can you hear us? He must have lost his connection.
Yeah.
We have time for one more question for Coach Coleman. Any other questions from anyone? All right, Coach Coleman, I'd like to thank you for, one, you started a few minutes early and
Yes.
kept us